This story revolves around a boy who has a repetitive dream in which he sees a woman with blue hair that he feels he appreciates very much. Unfortunately, every time he wants to grab her hand, she opens her wings, ending the dream and leaving him always with tears in his eyes. This boy will meet angels through time, who for angels are not exactly happy besides trying to discover who created them. Also the mystery of why there is a giant black hole on Earth, but above all show that human angel or angeloid all are capable of having feelings. This is how we meet Tomoki, our protagonist, who is awakened by Sohara, but she sees that something woke up before him. After hitting him, they head to school. They live in a very quiet village inhabited by just over 7,000 people. Tomoki loves his life as it is very quiet, just watching series, doing kinky things, sleeping and basically just exists and that's it. When they are in class, Tomoki falls asleep and dreams of the blue-haired girl who asks him to please save her because the sky has trapped her. Tomoki wakes up crying and Sohara suggests him to ask Sugar, this white-haired boy who is very smart and also tells them that there is a black hole floating above the Earth and although it has been studied by scientists for years, they cannot decipher what it is. So he believes it is a new world and that in turn, Tomoki's dreams are connected to it. As expected, Tomoki thinks he is crazy, but as the hole will be floating near his city at midnight, then the three of them meet there. Tomoki is the only one who arrives at the site because the other two had problems and could not get there. So Tomoki is indignant and leaves. When he is leaving, he receives a call from Sagata who tries to warn him that something strange is happening, but right there something falls from the sky. Tomoki gets scared and sees that it is an angel. He decides to run away and leave her, but many columns fall from that hole, so he regrets and goes back for her, picks her up and when a structure is about to fall on their heads, the angel wakes up, opens her wings and saves him besides attaching a chain to Tomoki's hand. When they are safe, she proceeds to introduce herself, saying that her name is Akaros, a pet class angeloid, and that she is there for his wishes. The next morning, Tomoki wakes up and sees Akaros in his room. She tells him that he can ask for anything and he says money. Then, as if to say something by the order he gave her, Akaro pulls out a letter and gives her $1 million in cash. Tomoki is terrified and she explains to him that this letter allows him to teleport things as based on his request. Synapse provides him with what he needs, although she no longer has reserved information of what Synapse is, because according to her, she just woke up and met him, so he was created by Synapse to please him. Tomoki gets a head rush and starts doing a lot of idiocies, like stopping time to touch the girls, becoming invisible to see them, and so on. At night, Akaros keeps asking Tomoki for orders and he tells her to take off her clothes. She does it. He apologizes and asks her to cancel the order. And that's when we discover that orders cannot be cancelled. She keeps asking him for orders and he jokingly tells her that he only needs to conquer the world. The next morning, Tomoki realizes that he does not see anyone, so Akaros explains that he activated the program to conquer the world. So he disappeared all human beings on Earth. Tomoki is sad and does not know what to do because the orders cannot be cancelled. Ikaros says he can self-destruct and Tomoki says that would help. Ikaros pulls out a gun and tries to kill himself, to which Itokiya stops her and tells her in tears that he was only joking. She explains to him that the situation is the same and he can't cancel an order. Tomoki regrets what he did because she was only following his orders and says he wishes it was all a dream, to which he again dreams of the blue-haired girl who asks him to take care of her angel and never leave her. Tomoki wakes up and thanks to what Akaro said, he turned this whole situation into a dream. He also asks her if she wants to be part of that dream and Tomoki says that she can do whatever she wants. At that moment she decides to stay with him and that is how we start. Sora no Otoshimono or the lost property of heaven. A new day begins and Tomoki's friends meet. Akaros and Tomoki had problems with the chain, but after a little battle, Akaros tells him that he can disappear or extend it as much as he wants. Now Tomoki has a task that he can't solve, so he looks for Sagata's house, but it turns out that he doesn't have a house, but he lives on the bank of a river, and they found it thanks to the president. This girl here who has a weird personality and likes to put Tomoki in uncomfortable situations. Sagata helps them with homework, but then she thinks that Akaros claims to be created so she should be able to do. To her surprise, she has no idea about those things. It is also revealed to us that the black hole in the sky that was going around the whole Earth has stopped right in Tomoki's city, so Sagata finds it very strange. So Akaros flies to find something weird, but everything is normal. Then they send Akaros shopping to start checking if she can adapt to the human world and especially see her capabilities. In the middle of her shopping, she is very attracted to a watermelon and buys it to pet it. She was also asked to buy meat. The little issue here is that she bought it alive. Basically, she brought a live chick, but thanks to that mistake she decides to get another food. So she brings a giant fish from the Amazon and of course one might wonder where she got it from. And it turns out that Akaros can fly a speed of Mach 24. Sagata is simply amazed and in his computer he writes down Akaro's specifications. By this point, everyone like him does not believe that she is a pet type. That is, she literally has almost unlimited power. Thanks to the dinner she has, there comes a time when everyone is happy to have Madikaros because she brings him a lot of joy and they laugh at how much fun she is having. Evidently, Akaros could not be perfect and she does not understand why they laugh, nor does she know that it is something funny. Simply put, she does not understand human emotions and she does not feel them properly because of that. She has such a strange and cold attitude and she takes everything literally. Already at night, Sagata questions her because she does not believe the story of the pet class and she is too powerful. He fills her with questions, but one of the most important is why she approached Tomoki. She only responds that she was programmed for that, but every time she does something, her master, that is, Tomoki, seems to be in trouble, so she feels sadness. Sagata leaves her alone because she comes to the conclusion that she herself does not know what she is. Meanwhile, Tomoki listened to the whole conversation behind a tree. The next day, Akaros asks Sagata about the fun. He advised her because she doesn't even know what that is, but she feels that when she is next to her master, her heart is relieved. So from here we can see that she is not with him just for orders, but because she has a feeling for him. Well, Akaros continues with his watermelon, which, by the way, he takes great care of. He literally adores it and caresses it, just like Tomoki caresses his head when he does something well. Sohara and Akaros go shopping. Sohara, who is Tomoki's childhood friend, evidently has an attraction to him, saying that even though he acts like a pervert, he is always there when he is needed, as even when they were kids and no one was at Sohara's birthday, he did attempt. Sohara asks Akaros about her friends, and as it was obvious, she doesn't have any, so Sohara tells her that she does. Since they are friends, Tomoki dreams again, and this time the girl asks him for forgiveness. Since she didn't send him an angel to make things like this, for various reasons, they all stay at the president's house, and well, the reason for his hostile personality is that he comes from a family that has shady business and his father is the boss. He cares as he sees him bald and with scars that make him look like a watermelon, goes and caresses his head. He even liked it. Tomoki accidentally entered the president's bathroom and the alerts were activated. And now it is Tomoki who is going to die because no one but her can enter that bathroom and they are absolute rules. The president tries to stop her family but she can't, so Sagata threatens them because he implies that he really has a powerful family too. Unfortunately, this does not matter to them and they go to decapitate Tomoki. Obviously this would not go well for them because Akaros realizes it and his anger increases, almost breaking the arm of one of the boss's workers. He only stops until Tomoki asks him to do it, and before this demonstration of power they leave him alone. Now a new angeloid appears in Tomoki's house. Her name is Nymph, although we will call her Nim by affection. She has a somewhat oppressive personality with Tomoki. However, she does not leave him for a second. Evidently Tomoki wants her to leave but she does not succeed. After a while they all want a trip to the beach and so they go in that Nim comments that she is a more updated version than a carrot since she is not of the alpha type. When they arrive to not have problems, Ikaros makes her wings smaller and Nim can make them invisible already on the beach. Although Tomoki doesn't like the new angeloid, he talks to her and thanks to that he starts to like her. He asks her why she came but she gives very strange answers because she doesn't answer what they ask her and only says that she has no interest in him. Tomoki also teaches Akaros how to swim as she literally dives into the sea and goes around playing with the fish, but Tomoki is worried that someone will discover her. Sohara sees Tomoki teaching Akaros to swim and gets jealous because in the past he also taught her, so she goes on a raft. Unfortunately the raft turns over and she starts to drown. Unfortunately Tomoki realizes it and desperately swims to save her. Nim, seeing that he won't make it in time, helps him and together they rescue her. Tomoki apologizes to Sohara and thanks Nim for helping him. As it is getting late, they decide to stay in a hut where Tomoki again dreams with the blue-haired girl, who asks how is her angel, and also recommends them to take care of herself, to which she wakes up in the middle of the night and talks to Akaros, who asks her what is that about sleeping, because the angeloids do not know it, since they never feel sleepy, and tells her in a somewhat sad way. So Tomoki goes out to walk with her for a while on the beach and to take out her wings calmly. When they are about to leave, they see that Nim is being harassed by 3 guys and Tomoki runs to help her. One guy grabs Tomoki very hard and Akaros gets angry again because they are trying to hurt his master. His eyes turn red and he starts to release so much power that even the trees come off. Tomoki yells at him to stop and scolds her for having done that. Evidently the guys ran away already on the train. On the way home, Tomoki apologizes to Akaros for getting angry with her because she looked like some kind of android weapon and he didn't want that. A new day arrives and the vacation is over. So Tomoki goes back to class and asks Akaros to stay home, although this doesn't last long because he doesn't even convince her to use her letter and make everyone believe that they are exchange students. At first Tomoki gets angry because of this situation, but it is Sagata who convinces him, saying that it would be useful for them to learn more about humans. Sohara pretends to help them, but they are good at everything, taking notes, they know about birds, they cook perfectly. Besides, in math class something very strange happens and if we remember, in the past the carrots could not handle a simple math problem, but this time he answered the teacher with super advanced things, just activating a strange power in his eyes. It is as if he knew more and more. As expected, both became very popular and a lot of boys approach them, although Nim with her personality scares them away, but she says she won't go back to school, although Tomoki tells both of them that they can continue attending. A new day of school arrives and the popularity of both is on the rise. Nim sees a locked bird and releases it without hesitation. This is a very curious fact and is going to be very important. When they both open their lockers, love letters rain down for both of them, and from here comes an important point, and that is for Akaros to understand what love is. They all get together and talk about it and they also question Tomoki if he would see Akaros as a couple, but he says no, because he is just happy that he leads a normal life. Plus he wants Akaros to learn to smile and also to understand feelings. In the library, Nim and Akaros are reading the love letters. Evidently Nim understands them, but Akaros doesn't. Nim says that if Akaros keeps his green eyes, he won't be able to understand because, as you may have noticed, every time Akaros does something impressive, his eyes turn red. So Nim grabs Akaros by the head and tells him that all this time he was with her. He analyzed her and starts a process to look at what Akaros has and realizes that his emotional and memory protection is 100%. That's why she doesn't remember anything and doesn't understand her own feelings. And some of her powers are also sealed, solving Nim's doubt about why she was acting like a doll, and with an angry face, she tells him that she is the Uranus queen that terrorized Synapse. Unfortunately, before she reveals more, they are interrupted by Sagata, who comes for a book and decides that thanks to his deductions, he tells Nin that although both are angeloids, Akaro seems to have a block, but she doesn't, so they were sent with a different purpose. Soon after, we enter the mind of Nim, who remembers her teacher in Synapse who commissioned her to retrieve Queen Uranus Akaros. The other day there is a festival in which the president performs a game where everyone has weapons of game, evidently, and the last one standing wins $100,000. While everyone is playing, Nim takes advantage that she is alone with the Carols and hits her against a tree. Is she the Uranus queen who collapsed the Synapse to the core? She hits her several times and tells her that she must be returned to her rightful owner, referring to Nim's master as Akaros insists that she is of the pet type. Nim unlocks her memories with her hacking program, where her former master ordered her to eliminate those on the surface, i.e. humans, and she remorselessly slaughtered them all. Obviously she gets into conflict because she also remembers what Tomoki told her, that he doesn't like to see her as a weapon. And it is here where for the first time, Ikaros cries. Nim makes fun of her, but then panics because she remembers that she only activated her memories, so she shouldn't be able to cry, much to her chagrin. Ikaros activates a self-recovery program where she unlocks her emotions and all her powers, and well guys, this is as far as Ikaros gets because Nim runs out of fear. But Akaros activates his wings and a halo and starts attacking her mercilessly, making Nim fall in the mud. And she hates dirt, so she gets angry and attacks her with a laser, which Akaros simply blocks them with a shield called Aegis. Akaros gets more serious and pulls out the Apollon arrow, which has the power to destroy an entire country, but Akaros would shoot it and then put up a shield to protect the area. Akaros warns Nim to leave, as they both know that Akaros can destroy her, and for Akarats, the most important thing is Tomoki, so she just wants to remain the pet like Akaros that she is. In her master's eyes, Nim is no fool and obviously accepts the offer, but not before telling him that I won't be able to fool Tomoki forever. And what will he think of her when he finds out that she is a weapon of mass destruction? Koros is very sad because thanks to the time he shared with Tomoki, he sees things differently and knows that what he did in his past is not right. Now, back to the festival I mentioned before. It turns out that Sohara didn't have a toy gun and unfortunately it was real, so Tomoki shoots her. Fortunately, Ikaros intervenes, but the bullet hits her head. Tomoki cries because she thinks she has lost the Karos, but she gets up as if nothing. In the end, the festival is won by the same person who provided the guns, arrive the fireworks. Tomoki talks with Akaros to know if she would know that she would be okay when she was in front of the bullet. Akaros is sincere because even she didn't know that she could withstand bullets. Tomoki asks her to never again sacrifice herself for him. That very much to my regret. They should remember this because it is a very, very important fact. Akaros only cries and hugs him in the back. After a while we see Nim reporting to Synapse where her master and other haughty guys who also have wings scold her for waking Queen Uranus instead of taking her back. They also imply that humans will never enter Synops, so an electronic angeloid is useless. Her master decides not to kill her, but the wretch makes her suffer by electrocuting her, returning to Earth. Akaros is trying to be a normal human and by chance she overhears a couple saying that Lai is normal and tells Sahara that she already pretends to be good, but she is violent and she is also ugly. To Sagata, she says that there is no new world, to Tomoki, that she doesn't want to be with him, and to the president that she is a good person. Well, the thing is that Akaros continues acting like a normal person according to her, and in a business, she says that the food is ugly to a lady. She says that her son is horrible and so on. Soon after, Nim appears again and with lies she convinces Akaros that nothing bad, although her objective is still the same, which is to take her, and as she considers human beings inferior, she pretends to take Tomoki hostage. She becomes invisible and when she is going to take him, she sees him spying on someone, so she regrets and decides to look at what Tomoki was seeing, and the very dirty guy was deflecting a couple that was doing the no distance in the grass. Tomoki scolds her for having disappeared because after all, they have lived together for a long time and it is not fair that she does not even tell him when she is leaving. Nim blushes and agrees. The problem is that she has some affection for Tomoki and makes her mission difficult. Then everyone receives Nim warmly when they realize that she is back. Throughout the afternoon, Tomoki treats Nim very well and she would like to reciprocate that affection, but because of the chain around her neck, she cannot disobey her master. Later, Sagata realizes that Akaros is lying and he asks her why. She explains to him what we already know and he asks her not to do it because it makes everyone feel bad. That's how it all works out. Especially for Tomoki, who was too sad because she had told him that she didn't want to be with him already at home. Tomoki tells Akaros that in the past he was a boy of adventures and so on. But thanks to that, his friends began to leave him alone because they got hurt. That's why it gave him so hard to think about her leaving him. Akaros listens to him, attentively approaches him and kisses him. Nothing crazy as Angeloid has his pants on more than anyone here. He ends up telling her that he wants to be with him now and forever. Some time has passed and everyone is attending classes. Akaros is developing his feelings more and more because, as we know, He has already unlocked them and is eager to hold his teacher's hand. At school there will be a band competition in which Tomoki's club will face the other school who feels superior. Nim turns out to be excellent with the piano and is getting closer and closer to Tomoki. Akaros notices that there are people who hold Tomoki's hand and she also wants to do it, so she intends to try very hard to achieve it. At one point we see a memory of Nim with her teacher, and that is that after electrocuting her he made her call her little bird, that is his pet, and the scum forces her to tear off the wings of that poor bird. Nim feels more and more strange because Tomoki, who is the teacher of Akaros, is totally opposite to hers. At that moment, Tomoki gives her one of the sweet apples that she wanted so much. Nim is overcome by the feeling and she starts to cry. Shortly after the band contest in which Tomoki's club wins because among all the virtues that Ikaros has is also singing. At night they will make a bonfire to which couples attend. Both Sohara as Nim and Ikaros want to attend with Tomoki. But Sohara and Nim take the situation to Tomoki. To go with Ikaros in this bonfire is where she finally manages to take Tomoki's hand, but she quickly withdraws it because she does not know if she deserves to be so happy after everything she has done, and even less if she is one of those weapons that Tomoki hates so much. Days go by and Akaros continues to worry about not telling Tomoki that she has recovered her memory and that she knows what she is. When she gets up the courage to tell him, Tomoki stops her and they tell her that they will talk about it when she is ready because they are a family. Nim drops on them and wishes she had a teacher as good as Tomoki. Soon after, Tomoki talks to Sagata, saying that he would like to know who created the angeloids in the sky. We as viewers see that Nim's disgusting master wants to get rid of her and he has no worries because thanks to the chain he has, he can't escape. Currently, Akaros is practicing how to smile. Although he tries all the advice he is given, he doesn't succeed. And besides that, Akaros tells Nim that he hasn't seen her smile for a long time, but she states that angeloids are not made to smile naturally, they are only for combat. Soon after, they try to have a date, the three of them. The feelings of both of them are getting stronger and stronger because, for example, when Akaro sees that Nim grabs Tomoki's hand, his chest hurts and he does a system check because he doesn't know why it happens to him. In turn, when Tomoki lets go of Nim's hand, she thinks and wishes he could be her teacher. Among so many things, Tomoki mentions that he would be very happy to see the zoo animals free. Akaros takes it very seriously and sets them all free, causing a stampede. Fortunately, the police solves everything. At the end of the date, Nim says she wants to kiss Tomoki. She approaches him and Akaros sees this and flies away because his reactor, that is to say his chest or heart, hurts a lot, continuing with the kiss. Evidently they do not give it because Nim regrets because she knows she did something bad to Akaros, but she just wanted a good memory for her last day. Soon after, Ikaros and Tomoki leave holding hands to their house. Nim leaves because she wants to disappear from Synapsis radar. Unfortunately, before doing it, she is attacked by two more angeloids. These two angeloids are Gamma and they tell her that the master has been very worried about her and that he feels lonely when she is not there. Evidently it is a lie because the guy just wants to manipulate her to kill Tomoki and take Akaros back. Once that is done, tell her that she is a trash and discard her. Meanwhile, everyone is very worried because Nim disappeared again and they agree to look for her back to the two angeloids. They are manipulating Nim to lure Akaros into a trap, saying they will only talk, but evidently they are going to attack Akaros mercilessly. Elsewhere, Tomoki is shopping, but Akaros is very worried about the truth that she is hiding from Tomoki and Nim, so she goes to Tomoki and says goodbye to him, apologizes for the inconvenience and tells him that she loves him with all her heart and then flies away. Tomoki is totally confused and runs away while Akaros flies away saying that he will not go near Tomoki again because he will have a weapon to help Nim. Akaros finds her and Nim tells him her intentions. Ikaros tells her that he knew it from the beginning and that's when the Gamup who were in camouflage mode attack Akaros with a rifle, making him lose a wing. On the other hand, Tomoki and the others are searching for Akaros in the combat. Nim realizes that evidently they betrayed her and that everything they said is a lie. These two angeloids do not beat around the bush and directly go to kill Akaros because they only need his core. That's when Nim attacks them with her power and thinks she has beaten them. But unfortunately they are very strong. They get on his back, step on his face and tear off his wings. Akaros sees this and gets up and goes to get serious. At that moment he reaches Tomoki and the others. Akaros activates the Queen Uranus mode, recovers his wings and his eyes turn red. She gets a halo and tells Tomoki that she has lied to him because she is a strategic angeloid alpha type and tells him that she is the weapon that he hates so much. Tomoki interrupts her and tells her that when he told her that is because he did not consider that such a sweet girl that takes care of a watermelon. The carrot cries because she thought that Tomoki would hate her, but the opposite happened and she starts to fight with the two angeloids. They try to defend themselves but they can't do anything against Akaros who also activates the Uranus system, which is a lot of cannons and bombs them. Meanwhile, the boys try to cut the chain that ties Nim to her master. She says that if it goes wrong, the chain will explode and destroy the whole area. They don't mind dying if it's for a friend and continue doing it. Nim obviously feels very happy. Meanwhile, Akaro's fight continues and he has them against the ropes and at the same time that Akaros defeats them and scares them away with his last cannon shot. The boys manage to cut Nim's chain and this is how they manage to be all together. Once again, Tomoki continues with his dreams and this time the girl apologizes for involving him and asks him to be careful with the angel besides telling him again that heaven has trapped her. When she wakes up, she tells them all about this dream and Nim proposes to do the diving game that consists of entering Tomoki's dream. When they succeed, they do not reach the place of herbs that we always see, but a grey and strange place where there is a large stone monument with written things that I assure you is very important. So Hara starts to feel bad, so they come out of the dream. When they come out, Tomoki says that it was not his dream and that Nim was wrong. She assures that it was the right dream and we see that Akaros knows something. Sagata is cunning as always, manages to be alone with a carrot and ask her the true identity of Tomoki's dream. But she can't answer that question, to which Sagata passed her an acorn. And if you are wondering why that matters, is because he brought her from Tomoki's dream and from dreams. A fundamental rule is that you can't bring anything. Basically, for anyone who is not understanding, Tomoki's dream does not carry a dream per se, but a real-life place. Sagata goes to where Akaros fell in the first chapter to reflect among all that he does not remember why he had forgotten that day when he called Tomoki, he was heading there, and in fact he reached there. He saw some acorns on the ground that also fell with the columns, and when he touched a column, it glowed strangely, connecting all the dots. The place reached through Tomoki's dreams is synapsis itself. While thinking all this, suddenly a blonde angel falls from the sky who is targeting Tomoki. Tomoki goes to the mountains to train to stop getting excited every time something happens with the Karos and Nim. During his training, he is found by the blonde angeloid. Her name is Astria, a Delta-type battle angeloid, who is identified by Akaros, but upon learning her class, neither Akaros nor Nim care. We quickly find out why, and that is that when she goes to kill Tomoki, she stumbles and fails in a totally pitiful way. Basically, as Nim herself puts it, although she is very strong, she is an idiot. She tries several ways to kill Tomoki, as for example, poisoning his food, but she forgets to put the poison. In the end she leaves, frightened by how perverted Tomoki is. When she falls, she arrives precisely where Sagata is, and as she is restarting, she confirms her mission and talks about dreams that are an imperfection that only humans have. Also that 11 years ago there was an unexplained event where the dreams of a human connected with Synapse. The final decision of the High Council of Synapse is to forget about this incident because the event was not a big threat. But a few days ago there were indications that some humans entered the core of Synapse. In this so-called core are the rules. For these instances it is seen that they did not change the rules. So now the High Council of the Synapse determined that this event is dangerous, reaching level 4 alert, thus saying that the human Sakurai Tomoki must be killed. Basically, Astria's goal is to eliminate Tomoki to discover the reason for her dream. When she wakes up, she realizes that Sagata heard her and tries to lie. But Sagata is more cunning and she reveals that this stone that has things written on it is very important for them. Soon after, the president arrives and starts to manipulate Astria, telling her that she will help her to kill Tomoki. Astria is afraid to return to Synapse with bad news, as her teacher, who is the same as Akaros and Nim's teacher, told her that he will punish her if she fails. The president organizes a snowball fight in the school while Akaros and Nim search for hot springs. By this point, it has been a year since Nim lost the wards and she feels sad and partly a little jealous of Akaros, who has such a good teacher as Tomoki. As I told you, in the snowball fight Tomoki gets caught in a giant one, so Astria takes out her sword to kill him. Tomoki looks at her with sadness because he doesn't like that angels like her can't decide anything by themselves. She refutes him, saying that they only exist to satisfy their masters, although well, that's what she says, because deep down she feels something else. So she gets ready to cut Tomoki's head, but Akaros arrives, threatens her and obviously scares her away. Astria continues to live, so to speak, with Sagata, and we see that she is becoming more and more attached to the human world. After a week, Tomoki and the others visit Sagata. He asks Tomoki as a favor to fish food for Astria because she has not eaten for a long time and takes the opportunity to tell Nim to send him to Tomoki's dream. So Hara follows him and once they arrive, they fly away to investigate the place that is divided into several floating islands. Besides, Sagata explains everything we already know to Sohara. She inadvertently drops an artifact on the surface that reaches Tomoki's hands. Meanwhile, they continue to know the Synapse and notice that there are no people and it is only inhabited by strange angeloids that although they see them do nothing to get them out, they take advantage and follow the angeloids that are heading to the same place. Sagata could be invisibly in different places on the surface and is very confused until he manages to come to himself and sees that he is in a dome full of angeloids guarding some booths. Sagata approaches a cabin and notices that there is a person from the real world. Unfortunately, Sohara is captured by the two angeloids that Akaros had defeated previously and they reveal that those who are in this cabin are dreaming when they are going to kill them. Sagata's clock reaches 0. That means that they become intangible because they are initiating the teleportation process, since he told Nim that when the time was over he should return them. Sagata does not leave without first threatening the master of the Synapse that he will return. When Sagata comes back, Sagata asks Nim if he is real because after what he saw and lived, he is very confused. Then they all have dinner together, including Astria, who is very worried about getting along with the enemy. A few days pass and Astria goes to school. She supposedly tries to kill Tomoki, but does not succeed. As she has no home, she stays hungry, so in the afternoon she goes to Tomoki's house and they end up playing and eating, which in the end makes her happy, unlike the life she had in Synapsis. Later we are shown Tomoki's dream girl who is happy to see her daughters, i.e. the angeloids, happy. Her name is Daedalus and she is being attacked by the Master of Synapses and the two angeloids who tell her that he has investigated the incident of the humans and that he has already discovered that she has been accessing Tomoki's dreams. Besides being the only one who could release the seal of Queen Uranus or Ikaros in order to send her to the surface, she threateningly tells him that her angeloids cannot destroy the barriers she has put, although he knows it and only went to tell him that she has already ready the second generation of angeloids that will surpass the first created by her. That night, Tomoki dreams again with Daedalus, who tries to warn him about the second generation of angeloids. But before he succeeds one of the second generation of Tomoki's dream and she takes the opportunity to show Tomoki how it will strike. Light is astonished as dreams are supposed to be a taboo for angeloids. The dream ends and Tomoki wakes up scared. During the day, Astria goes to eat at Tomoki's house and does not know what to do about killing him because she thinks that Ikaros and Nim could have betrayed Synapses. All this while she is talking to Nim. Unfortunately, Astria makes a joke about Nim not having wings and makes her feel very bad. On the other hand, Tomoki is alone in a park and we see a girl with a nun's suit. Tomoki only tells her that she is a good girl and to go home. But soon after he realizes that she is not a girl, but the angeloid of second generation, because she approaches his ear and says the same words she said in her dream to later disappear. Nim is at home very distressed by what Astria said and also by the memories of her former master who treated her like garbage. She just thinks that Tomoki would never do something like that. Soon after, she reaches Sagata, who goes again and again to Synapses, measuring the times in order not to be caught. The problem is that in the last go, Nim doesn't bring him back because Tomoki arrives and takes her on a date. When Sagata is about to die, he is rescued by Daedalus. Returning to the surface, Nim is on a supposed date with Tomoki, in which he asks her to become his angeloid since he wants to be her master. She cries because of all the traumas she has and he says that nothing happens. Obviously Nim accepts, but before closing the deal, Tomoki asks her to self-destruct as proof of his love. That's when obviously Nim realizes that that's not Tomoki and gets on guard. Then the angeloid reveals her identity as the second generation. Her name is Chaos and she is of the Epsilon type. Nim gives her a direct hit, but fails to do anything. She says she is there because her master asked her for the convertible wind core of Ikaros, which is her heart, or well, as they call it, Synapses' strongest reactor. But this angeloid is very strange because apart from the order of her master, she wants to know what love is, since supposedly the two of them betrayed Synapses for that reason. But the strange thing for her is that the angeloids are not programmed to have that particular emotion. Going back to Sagata, he is seeing everything through the screen of Daedalus, who was the person who saved him. Continuing with Nim, she is being psychologically tortured with versions of Tomoki telling her horrible things, and this is the work of the second generation angeloid. Fortunately, Ikaros, who was flying, realizes the situation and gets ready to attack the angeloid. She cunningly takes the form of Tomoki and orders him to destroy Nim. Ikaros grabs her and throws her flying through the sky to flee. Ikaros knows that what he did is wrong, then kneels before his master. He asks her to start self-destructing, starting with her arm. She bravely obeys. Now we see that Nim fell near a river where Astria was. Nim only thinks about saving Ikaros, but she feels like a piece of garbage without wings that nobody would want. Fortunately, she sees Astria and asks her to help Ikaros. She gets ready to do it, but is stopped by her master who orders her to destroy Nim at once. He uses a loudspeaker through Astria and taunts Nim, telling her that if this time he is not going to beg for her life or say to do anything but throw her away. After that, he asks Astria to destroy her arms first, then her legs, and finally her face. Astria, although she doesn't want to, asks Nim for forgiveness because she can't follow her master's orders. Nim feels like an idiot for even having dreamed a different life, being that angeloids can't even dream. Just when she is going to kill her, Tomoki appears and says some very nice words to Nim about her right to dream and hugs her, giving her to understand that she, although she doesn't have wings, can be as free as she wants. Immediately, Astria tells her to follow her own will, to make her own decisions as she wants them. Her master tells her not to, and to kill Tomoki too, but before doing that, she tells him to give the final blow to Ikaros because Chaos is just torturing her and playing with her. Astria accepts and flies to where Ikaros is, but she thinks about everything she lived with them and with Tomoki. She says that Tomoki is starting to like her. Her master continues to insist with his orders and she yells at him to shut up and then breaks his chain, which is finally the first decision she makes for herself. Chaos asks her if that is love, but even she doesn't know it because she had never felt like that. They start their fight and finally we see Astri do something because she has the strongest sword and shield of all, the angeloids. She gives her final blow, but it doesn't do much damage to Chaos, who now makes a long-distance attack so she doesn't get close to him. Ikaros took advantage of this time to repair herself and join the fight. She releases her power and takes out her weapon that can even transform into a ship. Unfortunately, the cause is on par with Ikaros because it also has giant war artifacts. Ikaros decides to accelerate everything he can to sink it in the water because the angeloids cannot swim. Chaos tries to confuse with Tomoki's appearance, but he doesn't succeed because Ikaros already knows that this is not the real one. Ikaros keeps pushing her for kilometers towards the bottom of the sea, although he knows that this will also affect her, but he doesn't care if he can protect his friends. Chaos asks her what love is before being destroyed. Ikaros doesn't know. She only knows that her chest hurts every time she thinks about her master, and she knows that if she lets Chaos free, she would hurt her master, and just thinking about that possibility makes her feel as if she is split in two. This is how she is sent to the bottom of the ocean and Ikaros is saved by her machine, although when she gets out, she is sad because she is not sure what love is. In the end, Sagata returns to the surface and everyone celebrates that they have managed to get out safe and sound. Besides, Tomoki thanks the angeloids that they have returned home safely. Now the three are very sad for what Chaos had to go through because in the end they only did that because otherwise she would destroy them. But that does not take away the fact that they are the same species. Soon after, Akaros meets Sohara, and now she is very worried to know what love is because when she is with her teacher, her chest hurts and it is difficult for her to breathe. Sohara tells her that she is not sure either, but she thinks it is the feeling of wanting to be with someone. When they get home, Tomoki gives them a carrot and Nim an allowance because there will be things they want to buy and they are getting better and better adapted. Nim says she will buy a lot of sweets, but Akaros, on the other hand, wants to have a detail with her teacher, so she asks her friends what Tomoki would like. The president, for example, recommends her to take a bath with him, although obviously he takes her out of the bath and scolds her since the guy might be very perverted and all, but she respects her a lot. Then she asks Sagata and he recommends her to buy what she wants, and that for sure it would make Tomoki very happy. So she goes with all speed to buy a watermelon to caress her. When she gets home, Nim gives one of her sweets to Tomoki and the carrot shows that she bought a watermelon. Indeed, Tomoki gets very happy that she bought what she wanted. The carrot doesn't understand why his master is happy and she bought something she wanted and not what he wanted. After a small shot, we see Chaos at the bottom of the sea where he says he can't move because of the water pressure, but he will eat enough to be able to get out of there. Currently, Nim still wants Tomoki to become his master, although he doesn't seem to realize that desire. Astria also increasingly wants to play more and more with him. Ikaros tries to understand love and what a proposal means. At one point, Sohara asks Tomoki if he really doesn't feel anything for them. He argues that he doesn't because they are not even human. She tells him that sometimes he does perverted things with Nim and Astria, but Ikaros doesn't touch him or her. Tomoki had not been aware of that behavior in himself, so he doesn't know how to explain why he does it. Sohara just remains silent and leaves. Now it turns out that Tomoki has a system to spy through many points and there is one that is connected to the courtyard. And when she was kind of doing through that tube as if she was going to kiss him, Akaros looks through the other side of the tube and her heart races. Her wings unfold by themselves and she feels as much emotion as when she kissed him. Unfortunately, Akaros thinks her reactor is damaged when she is obviously in love, so she goes to repair herself by purging all the memories she has with Tomoki. On the other hand, Chaos manages to escape from the ocean because he ate all the fish he could to grow and thus be stronger and escape. While Tomoki sleeps, Delis warns him that it causes returned. The only problem is that it really does not reach to do so. Now it turns out that Akaros is sick because his reactor is failing. Tomoki caresses her and says goodbye to her. Nim says he will stay with her and when Tomoki leaves, Akaros asks who he was. Yes, unfortunately, Akaros did erase his memory. Nim tries to stop the program that erases Akaros' memories, but since he has no wings, he lacks power. On the other hand, Chaos is approaching the city, causing a big storm. Returning to Akaros, she is looking at photos she has with Tomoki and starts to cry with regret because she doesn't want to forget her precious master. Stria finds herself in a fight with Chaos, who thinks she knows what love is and says it is pain, for which she will show all her love. Sagata, on the other hand, asks Tomoki to enter her dream and tell Alice that the second generation evolved. Indeed she does. And although Tomoki has many questions for her, there is no time and she gives him an artifact that apparently can make Chaos stop returning to the surface. Now Akaros arrives to the battle site together with Nim and Astria. They make a plan to defeat Chaos. Unfortunately, she is more powerful than before and managed to capture them. Ikaros is willing to activate her maximum power, although that pressure means that later she will not be able to recover the memories about Tomoki. Unfortunately, Chaos captures her before she does it and says that he will teach them about how painful love is just there. Tomoki arrives, who orders Akaros that he cannot die. He also tells Nim and Astria that if they don't have a master, he will be the one to order them all to live as they wish. Nim evidently cries with emotion and also gets her new wings. The three of them manage to free themselves and say that thanks to Tomoki and for having met him, they are stronger. The three of them act as a team and with Nim's hacking, they improve Astria and Akaro's abilities. They give their all and manage to defeat Chaos, taking her to the ground. She is just desperate to know what love is. Unfortunately, she thinks it is pain and death, so she says that her sisters love her very much. Obviously they are not going to kill her. Tomoki approaches her and apologizes for everything that has happened because deep down she is a good but confused girl. So she puts the lock that Ellis gave her on her chain. They take her to Recovery and also to Akaros. They are all taken to Delis, who says he will return her to her original form and make it impossible for the Master of Synapses to find her. And thanks to Tomoki for loving his daughters with all his heart. Also thanks to Nim who recovered her wings and all her powers. She manages to make Carrots recover his memory. After a while, Chaos falls from heaven to earth and now she is restored, recovering her kind and sensitive personality. And Tomoki also becomes her teacher, and they all share a meal at Tomoki's house.